This Thursday, on September 14th, I had the opportunity to attend a Light for the Lost luncheon where we learned about the Light for the Lost organization, which is an Assemblies of God organization that raises money for missionaries and mainly to buy Bibles and produce Bibles in all different kinds of languages and in different mediums. The director of Light for the Lost name is Rick Allen, and he was at this lunch, and he told a story about a time that he was in Xi'an, China, with a group of students at a table, and these students spoke English, and as he was talking to them, he decided to ask, have any of you been to America? And he said that one gentleman raised his hand and said that I've been to America, and he asked him, what did you like most about America? And this young man said, I miss the moon and the stars. And he realized that in Xi'an, China, there is so much pollution that you cannot see the moon and the stars. And one of the girls that was also at this table spoke up, and she says, I've never seen the moon and the stars, because she's lived there for so long, and she can not even remember a time at which she could see the stars. As humans, we use energy constantly, and that's okay because we need energy for a lot of things, and it's really useful. It provides a lot of really useful resources that have helped us advance in society. As missionaries, we use energy in a lot of ways for a lot of things that we do in our ministries, and a lot of things that we do in these countries that we're traveling to. It is a vital part of our ministry, and we need to understand how we're using it and what that impact has on the place that we're trying to help. We read in the textbook, Integrated Science, that any form of energy can be converted into another form. So there's not technically different types of energy, but there's forms that energy can change from. An article on conserveenergyfuture.com states that pollution from energy resources like coal, natural gas, and oil can cause a huge range of severe medical complications like asthma and lung cancer. This brings about unnecessary suffering and extraordinary medical costs. Conservation of energy ensures less carbon footprint, hence fewer cases of respiratory diseases. As missionaries, we're going out to try and help people and try and serve them the way that Jesus would serve them and show them love, and part of that is that we want to care for their health. And a lot of us missionaries go out with the goal of helping people understand the gospel as well as helping their lives and bringing better health resources into their country. That we want to not only tell them the gospel, but we want to love them and provide resources for them that God has given to us to share. And we can sometimes not even realize it, but we are actually contributing to things that are harming their culture and their country. People should care for the environment and the world, but as Christians, we have a special responsibility and burden for this. An article written by Calvin B. DeWitt and Ronald Nash on Christian Research International states that we must discover what creation teaches us about its God-given order and the principles by which it works. We must not selfishly keep the good news to ourselves. We must tell. We should so behave on earth that our testimony to our Creator is clear. God's first command to humans in Genesis was to go and into all the earth, but also to care for it. As missionaries, we complete that go into all the earth part, but sometimes we aren't aware of how we are treating it and how we are caring for it. Robert White says in an article that he wrote that Abuse of the natural environment is a consequence of human sinfulness. It is a symptom of disobedience of God's command to humankind to care for His world, and marring the created order prevents it from giving glory to God. Dr. Ray Bolin writes an article entitled Christian Environmentalism, a Biblical Worldview Perspective on You and the Earth. And in it he says that as Christians we must treat nature as having value in itself. We must be careful to exercise dominion without being destructive. Our textbook for this class, Integrated Science, defines energy as the ability to do work. There are a lot of ways that we can conserve our own personal energy uses and therefore reduce our impact on the pollution in our environment. As missionaries, it's our heart for people that compels us to do what we do, and it can be that same heart that we have for people that can compel us to do what we can to conserve energy and reduce pollution, because we want people to see the glory of God and His creation, and we want people to be healthy. These are things that we do for a living, that we are passionate about and that have driven us into ministry. And those can be the same reasons that we can become conscious and intentional about our energy use and conservation. On the Ask a Scientist website, Paul Otway answers the question, where does energy come from, by explaining that most of the energy that we have here on Earth comes from the sun ultimately. You can trace back it being converted to this type of energy, to this type of energy, to this type of energy, and usually it originates as the energy coming from the sun. We use this solar energy in a variety of different ways, and our Earth uses this solar energy to produce things that we eventually end up using to burn as fuel or use to create different, or use to operate different types of machinery or different things in our houses and in our everyday lives.